What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? It is about that time, y'all, as we are only a few days away from the beginning of the 2024 NC State baseball season, man, and it is so exciting to finally get some baseball once again, get back on the beautiful diamond, and we couldn't imagine have somebody else even better to come on the show and talk about, kind of reviewing last year, talk about, and just kind of talk about what he expects for this upcoming team. And I know we were talking a little bit off air with my guy here, LuJames, Gino Groover here, and he was saying that he was going to be dialed into this team this year. And so I have no doubt that he has invested interest for sure, including into not only this coming season, but the seasons to come. So first of all, Gino, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on with us, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm
Absolutely.
ready to get to it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
We forgot to mention second round draft pick by the Arizona Diamondbacks. So let's give him his proper due there.
100%. No, number 48 overall, man. I mean,
Yes,
and actually the 16th player during Elliott Avon's tenure to be drafted inside the top 100 picks. So again, Gino, congratulations to you. And I know we were talking a little bit, but just for all of our viewers, all of our listeners right now, give us kind of an update in terms of what have you been doing ever since you got the call that you got drafted. Where are you at now? Kind of what's your timeline heading into the 2024 season?
So pretty much got drafted last year, was that early July. Get to Arizona and get there for about a week, just physical stuff like that, seeing if we're healthy and get there. I actually had to come home for a little bit, for about a couple of days, because actually my grandma had passed 2 days after the draft. So she stayed here long enough to see me get called. You never
awesome.
want to see nothing like that, but I mean, it's life.
That's God's touch right there, man. No doubt.
Yeah. So she lasted long enough to see the call, and then I come home for the funeral, and I go right back. When I get back, right back into the grind. Pretty much. I think I played 4 games in the complex league, because I haven't played since June, so a little ramp up because they didn't just want to throw me out there. And then right after that, after my 4 games, they sent me to Hillsboro, which is high A for the Diamondbacks. It's in Oregon. I probably played 25, 26, maybe, I don't know. I think I played 30 games altogether last year. So probably 25, 26 games somewhere in there. It's pretty good. We play six days a week. Tuesday through Sunday. Mondays are off days or travel days, depending if we're on the road multiple weeks. But, obviously a dream of mine. So, I was prepared for it in a way. It's a little different than, school ball. We play maybe 3-4 times a week. You start playing 6 days in a row, essentially. So, just gotta make sure you take care of your body and stuff like that. And for me, like I said, I was prepared going into it because I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I was able to keep my body up, play. We play 5 times a week. That's the rule that they have us under. So usually I play 4 games at third and a game at DH, and it was the same schedule every week. So I think for me, I played Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll do it again, the same thing next week. It's just the way it is. But pretty much they had a plan, and we went out there, just balled. Then I had to go to Instructs actually. October Instructs afterwards. And it was around that time, it was like, man, obviously I haven't been here the whole season, but including college ball, I'm 100 games deep as well. You just gotta make sure you take care of that body. And also, like I said, just adjusting to that playing every day. It's different when, I just gotta make it through Friday through Sunday compared to Tuesday to Sunday. That's a big difference. So that's what, 3 more games, 27 more innings. Focus, intent. It's a lot more going into it. But the one thing I will say is, it's way different when not having to worry about anything else but baseball. And so one thing I did say is I'm not gonna say I feel like I have more time, but that's what it felt like. I think I spent more time at the field, but I didn't have to worry about school. I didn't have to worry about doing homework, going home, doing homework. So it gave me more free time, and I could just put all my focus into one place. And I think that's the biggest thing. You free up somewhere, but it's fulfilled somewhere else down the line. So it's just being focused about that. And then actually I went to the DR afterwards.
Wow.
They took the top 10 draft picks to the DR. So it's pretty nice, to see where, obviously baseball is a very diverse game. So, see where some of our teammates come from and stuff like that. Because I mean, obviously, like they come over to the States to play, but we don't really never know where they're coming from. So it was good to see that. I saw like the complex and stuff down there. And then after that, came home and then had January instructs in January. It was like the 15th to February 3rd. But so it finished up yesterday.
Cool.
So, and then I'm back home now until the 18th until I go out for early spring training.
How you talked about hitting that 100-game plus portion of your season. How much does the mental game kick in when the physical is just kind of catching up to you? How do you mentally overcome that and stay focused to go out there and do your job?
I think you just got to learn, like, I mean, everyone's different. So, like, also got to learn how your body works, like, what satisfies, like, for you to feel prepared. Because at the end of the day, like, being prepared is what matters. Now, once you start getting 160 games in and, you're 10,000 reps in, like, the preparation may come a little quicker than what it was when you were coming off off season, at 3 months, you're ramping back up. It's a little different. And then, so, so just find out what works for you and being able to utilize it to, like, the best that you can. Like, I think it becomes a little bit more of a quality over quantity type thing. Obviously, like, you want quality. You want to do it correctly. Now, if you do it correctly 15 times in a row, maybe you don't need to take those 50 swings. If you take 15 great swings back to back to back, stuff like that. Like, don't burn yourself out. And that's also something that's like early on in the season, you feel like you got to do so much as well. Since from my own like experience, since coming back from this instructor, like we're doing it because they're expecting us not to be ready. Now, being ready is a plus, but at the end of the day, like, you don't want to burn yourself out in February, and then now you're pushing through February to October. You're like, man, like, my body's hurt. Like, you're not going to perform to the best that you can. For sure. So also just finding that median ground when it's needed, and when, like, I think as a player, when you need to get in the lab and do more, like quantity wise, like get reps in versus the quality. So I think it depends. It depends on player to player for me.
No doubt. And so, kind of tell me too, obviously you spend your first year in 2021 at UNC Charlotte and then transfer to NC State, spend 2 years at NC State. And so if I'm doing the math correctly, you did have some eligibility to come back for an extra year if you wanted to. Was that ever considered? Like, what was kind of the decision-making process like for you, whether deciding to go pro or come back for your final year?
I mean, for me, I think obviously like leverage and stuff like that goes into play, And when it comes to like the baseball side of things, I mean, it's a little different because, basketball, you have to do at least a year in college. Like, it's mandatory. But, in high school, like, high schoolers have the most leverage. It goes high schoolers, probably draft eligible sophomores, juniors, and then, like, as a senior, the older you get, the less leverage you have. So for me, I had 3 great years in college. I made a name for myself, put myself in a good position. So, like, I did have eligibility. I had 1 more year. And obviously, like, it could be an option based off, okay, maybe if I'm looking for something specific, or I feel like, oh, I deserved more, or I thought I'd put myself in a better position. It's like, I think it's the game. It's just the way it is based off what teams are talking and stuff like that. Because obviously you want to be able to, like, take care of yourself as well. Like, especially with me, like, I still have a year. So I think a good example is Ivan Melendez, who was actually on my team, drafted by the Diamondbacks, did 3 years, didn't like his situation or where they had him at. And then he goes back for his senior year, and then Golden Spikes winner, 30-plus home runs in college, and then put himself in an even better position. So, like, it's very possible. But, like, for him, he bet on himself. But you always want to put yourself in the best situation possible to give yourself the most leverage to work, around what you may need or desire based on that point in your life.
Yeah, and just real quick, Greg, and I'll let you jump in, just to kind of explain, because basically when you say leverage, basically what you're saying is that since you have another year left, basically you're almost kind of pitching to the MLB team saying, like, if you want me to come, like, and forego my eligibility, then it needs to be an enticing enough offer
Yeah.
for me to make it worth my while. That's basically the definition, right, Gino?
Yeah, yes, sir. Because I mean, like with the high schoolers, obviously, if they could just go to college,
Right.
like they'll go to college. Because I mean, okay, and then I'm not gonna say I fall in that. I think I fall in that because I was a COVID grad, so I was in the 5-round draft, and then obviously, a lot of college kids was taking that year because they didn't really get to see a lot of high schoolers. They have experience and they know what they're getting because there's years of work on them.
Right.
So then I go to college for 3 years and I put myself in a way better position than what I was in during that time. And then so I had the leverage to go to college, and then I took it and I ran with it, and then I made it even better for me.
That's right. Go ahead, Greg.
No, I was going to say, and the leverage actually works both ways too. If you come back for your senior year and don't do as well as you hope, then the Major League Baseball clubs hold the leverage over you with dollar signs and years because they know you got nothing left. So it's almost becomes a take it or leave it offer.
Yeah, so then that's what makes it hard. Because then essentially you're betting on yourself. Like, okay, if I come here and then I don't do as well as I did, like anything's not guaranteed. You never know.
Yep.
So you come back for your last year, you get hurt. Boom. Now when the draft hits, no matter whatever happens, you can't. I mean, I guess if you get hurt, you can come back, but it might just make it worse later on. But I mean, it just depends on the way you want to look at it. At least from I want to talk about. Yeah, there's just no leverage because at the end of the day, you have no pull, and whatever they're offering, you kind of just have to be like, okay, like you got to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I want to kind of dive into talking a little bit about last year and kind of get your thoughts a little bit. And then for part 2, we'll start to kind of really dive into previewing the schedule, previewing what the team's going to look like, returning players, new players, things like that. So, obviously looking at last year, definitely, I think a lot of really positive things. But I feel like for me, kind of the best kind of definition for me is still a lot of meat left on the bone. I feel like, I think you would agree. I mean, definitely opportunities, which is, just unfortunately just did not go our way. But, kind of give me your overall thoughts. I mean, like, looking back at the 2023 season, I know you're definitely the kind of person where, you put it all out on the table and that's all you can do. Is at the end of the day, as long as that's the case, then it's really tough to have any really regret. So I'm not going to necessarily say, what do you regret or what do you, digging yourself on, but kind of give me your overall thoughts. So what are some of the things you're proud of that were accomplished? What are some things you're like, man, if only we could have got this done? Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was up and down. Baseball. It's a game where one mistake. I mean, I think that's literally what baseball is. The team that makes the least mistakes wins the game.
Right.
And I mean, so if you can limit your mistakes as a team and do the little things correctly, the little things add up and they make the big things happen. So you do the little things correctly, you limit the mistakes, as a team, like the cleaner you play, the more games you'll win. Yep. And so you make less mistakes and you capitalize off the other team's mistakes. Like the game's never won. The game is essentially lost. Right. I mean, there's obviously going to be games where like, okay, maybe we put up 15 runs in, but like for the most part, we're a good team and we're playing other really good teams. Right. So we have to make whoever can be the best team that day wins. Mm-hmm. So I just think we had some games where literally we'll play a great game and then later on in the game, just one mistake. And then after that, it blows the whole game up. Yeah. And that's what baseball is. Yeah. Now, there's going to be times where you get breaks and you make mistakes and you get away with it. Just like with hitting, there's going to be times where you take bad swings, you get away with it, you do everything right, you walk back to the dugout. Right. Or pitchers make good pitches, hitters get hits, and then they throw a pitch right down the middle and they swing through it. Like it's very up and down, It's hard though. So it's just about who can be the best at making those mistakes and eliminating them. And I think we had a little stretches where we played very well and then just one simple mistake threw it all out the window. And I definitely think we put it all out there. And I think for me, I think I probably enjoyed or I'm glad we did. Obviously, it's my sophomore year, 2022. We didn't make the regionals, but that year we went. I think we lost in the championship in the ACC tournament. That's probably one thing I would love to have won a conference tournament. Probably that probably would have been a nice feeling, especially now since we played in the championship game in one of those years I was there. And then, I mean, next year, and then my junior year, we make a regional. So, obviously, it's a step up. Yep. We didn't maybe go as far as we wanted to, but at the end of the day, like, you know, you got to get there first in order to have a chance to continue going. We got there, maybe didn't go the way we wanted it to, but at the end of it, I think for me, like, you got to take it one step at a time. Like, don't ever look too far. So, you know, just take it like one goal at a time. You know, like, all right, let's get here first. And then when we get here, like, what is it? You win, what, 3-4 games in regional? Yeah. Then you go to a super regional, win 3. Or you win 2.
Yeah.
Yep, you win 2. And then you're in Omaha. What's that, 6 wins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you
go the path.
Yeah. No, but like I guess with losses and stuff like that. Right. But when you think about it, we play a 60-game season or whatever, 55, 57 games, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is make it to the regional, and you can pull 5 wins out playing correctly at the right time.
Right.
And that's all it takes. And then the next thing you know, you're one of the last 8 teams in the country left playing for a championship. So I just think, like, as a team, I think focusing on getting there first, get to the regionals first, and then we'll go as we go from there.
Yeah, you know, you're kind of talking about that, and a couple points here is in that 21 season, we had, especially in the pitching side of the house, we had guys with clearly defined roles, and I think last year was an instance where we just couldn't find roles for some of the guys, you know, whether it was injury or inconsistency. Those clearly defined roles just weren't kind of there, and we kind of were plugging and playing. You know, you had Dom Fritton, who was a starting pitcher for a good portion of the season, and he gets moved to the bullpen. Sam started in the bullpen, becomes a starter, and then just trying to find roles for some of the guys that, you know, we thought were going to happen. So I think that was, you know, kind of to your point.
Never had a defined closer too.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, you know, just trying to, you know, find that niche for everyone, and then sometimes that just doesn't, you know, happen for whatever reason. You know, we caught teams, we caught Clemson, like we thought, oh, that was going to be an easy cakewalk series, and then we struggled against them because that's when they started to hit their stride when they played against us, and
then they won like 20 games in a row after that.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, and there was a couple games, like you said, you know, we kind of had some snowballs on the defensive side. But for me, I just kind of wanted to talk about the regional. Like we ran in, we had to go play in Columbia, obviously, which is a, you know, great environment. And then, you know, we ended up being the 3 seed, where we probably should have been a 2 seed somewhere. And you have Campbell, who's a 2 seed that arguably should have been a 1 seed. You know, the case could be made that was probably the toughest regional coming out of the postseason. Just kind of give me your thoughts on that, because that was, to me, that was insane.
Yeah, I mean, you get Campbell. I think they were leading the country in scoring that year. So, like, I mean, I remember looking up and I'm like, okay, leadoff man, hitting 350, 20-plus home runs, 2-hole, 350, 20-plus home runs. You start looking like, okay, like, bro.
There's not a hole in the hole, right? Like,
yeah, you're like 9 holes hitting, 9 hole has 15 home runs. You're like, all right, bro, like what do we do?
Yeah. And that was the thing. They kind of just were out slugging everyone. Their pitching was not that good. I mean, it was decent.
But they hit. They get hit. I mean, first game, I think we beat them, actually. I think we left them with 1 run.
Yeah. 5-1. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, we came out, we played really well. I don't remember. I think Whitaker started, I think. Yep. Yeah, came out. I mean, I think Whitaker's as consistent as they come. I mean, every night, you know, you're going to strike thrower. He's going to get contact, you know, just play defense, or do our job, essentially. He's going to do his job. Now we got to do our job behind him. Yeah. I love playing behind Whitaker. But, yeah, I think we got in that game. Then we get to South Carolina. We lost that game.
6-3.
I can't really remember what happened.
We had chance in the 8th, I think it was. I think we had, like, first and second, maybe even bases loaded, and I don't think we got the game thing.
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina. I mean, power school.
I think Havner came in and pitched really well, though. That was, I feel like it was Havner. Was it Havner?
Oh, Shaft. Well, I think Willison started and then Schaffner came in.
Schaffner, yeah, not Havner.
Willison got the loss, got credited with the loss.
Yeah, but Schaffner came in and gave us good innings. I thought that was for me, if you can have a silver lining out of losing, you started to see that there were some guys that could step up this year, and we'll definitely talk about them.
I probably got some people. Like, I don't know, I haven't really kept up with them, like all the people, but I be knowing some names.
Well, and we'll definitely talk about that. But the one guy which I had mentioned that towards the beginning, which I want to talk about here now that we're kind of alluding to the second game against Campbell, which ended up being the last game of our season. My guy Sam Highfield, man, who like obviously an Apex native, and I'm an Apex born and raised guy myself. So definitely, and I was in Omaha, and so was Greg. During Sam Highfield's amazing legendary stretch And thinking back to his freshman year, how he actually led the bullpen or led the pitching staff with a 3.66 ERA, had a 9-2 record, and then last year he goes and he has I think it was a 4.83 ERA with a 6.4 win-loss record. And I mean I don't have the stats here in front of me from the Campbell game, but it was bad. It was just awful. And so. I honestly was telling myself after that, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes, just because he's been obviously dealing with that back injury, which I completely feel for him for. But there's no doubt there's no way he that's how he wants to go out. Like, cause, I mean, it honestly, unfortunately, couldn't have gone worse. So, I mean, I honestly was thrilled to see him come back, and especially now with it being his last year of eligibility. I really am seeing a revenge season coming for Sam Highfield, to getting us back to that 2021 Sam Highfield that we fell in love with, that outdueled the legendary Jack Leiter, like, in Omaha, the guy that, hit 2 runs against one of the top pitchers in the country that year, like, that made us legendary. Like, 2024 will be that season that we get that return. I mean, kind of give me your initial thoughts on, like, were you surprised that Sam came back? What are you expecting from him this year? Things like that.
I don't really know. It's tough to say, because I mean, with like back injuries and stuff like that, those are tough. And then also just like from a like athletic standpoint, I feel like when people get hurt, like that first year coming back, like is like there's that sense of urge, like, okay, there's a little like I'm gonna keep it real here. Like, I think there's a sense of, okay, like there's a little bit of fear in there. Like, what if something happens again? What if I'm not right? They're like, I feel like they're scared to like fully put everything back out there like how they was. Like, it's like a more of a feel thing. And that's what makes it hard, especially coming back from a back injury. So, I mean, it's tough, but I know he's probably had time to, fully recover, and he probably is like confident back in his ability. Now he's like, okay, like he's very confident. Like, I could go back out here and do this. And go back out here and prove that I'm still that same person I was. So I think Sam is going to do something good this year, personally. I mean, obviously, maybe the last season didn't go how he wanted it to, or something like that. But now that I don't know, I haven't seen him pitch or anything in his last year. But I think Sam's going to go out there and be himself again. I think that sense of fear has gone out the window. And he knows he can go out there and like put it all out there how he needs to.
Amen.
For me, just watching him pitch, you could see, like, I remember on multiple occasions he would give you a different arm release that like I had never seen before from him. So you could tell he was just trying to figure out and find where he was most comfortable with in throwing.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. A lot of pitchers probably would have struggled against that Campbell team that day. The wind was blowing out. Like, it was like nothing.
It was a good day to be a hitter.
Yeah. So, it was just one of those days that just wasn't his day, and you're gonna have those as pitchers, and you just unfortunately it was that stage in that game, and I'm sure there's no one more that feels awful for their performance as Sam, because he's a what they call a gamer, right?
Yeah.
Amen. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, again, we will pick up in part 2, talking about really the returning players, maybe kind of get a sense from Gino who he thinks will be some of the guys to keep an eye on in 2024 season. and also talk about a little bit of these new guys, talk about the schedule a little bit, things like that. So to make sure you do not miss out on that, make sure to give us hit that subscribe button, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we release any of our new content. And also make sure if you enjoyed this video, do us a big favor, hit that like button and give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And then for Gino, make sure to go follow our guy, man. I think that Gino is going to be phenomenal this year and add another name to the the MLB watch list that seems like a lot of NC State players have been added on as of recently. So Gino, excited to see what you could do, man. But again, for all of us at Wolfpack Nation, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all for part 2, and go Pack, y'all.